Welcome to another episode of the Thank You Surfing Podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by
Brightbox, marketing for design, architecture, and hospitality. IMAIM Capital, experts in revitalizing Miami's urban multifamily real estate. And Team Key Aquatics, fostering growth and excellence in aquatic sports.
Today is June 3rd, 2024. I'm Brad Wells from Thank You Surfing. We're in El Zonte doing season 3. This is episode 4, I think, of the podcast. And I'm glad to be joined by my friends. And we're going to be talking about surfing like we always do. And who do I have? Today I've got
Alejandra, Ale Oceans, my social media.
Uh-huh.
And
It's like you almost forgot your name there for a second. My name is.
after
What was I supposed to say? Instagram, and I was supposed to talk about my name, and at the same time, okay. Ali Oceans on the Instagrams, Alejandra in real life.
Yes.
That's what we're going with.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how we know her.
And who else are you repping?
And I have, what do you mean?
I don't know, who you out here for?
I'm here with my friends.
You want to drop the sponsors? You want to, whatever
Yeah.
you want? I don't know. It's up to you. All right.
My
up
wish
next.
list of the sponsors is.
There you go. That's even better. Gats, what do you want to say?
Next to Alejandra Ale Oceans is Katrina. No sponsors. Just Katrina.
What's your Instagram?
Self-sponsored.
Yeah, but you got a business, right? What's that all
I
about?
have my business. It's a training development consultancy. It's called Light to Up, basically
We do
meaning...
research on the Thank You Surfing podcast.
After now, I see how.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And I have another blondie next to me.
We're not sisters. We could be. But my name is Nette. And guess my business is Surfing Your Fears.
Surfing Your Fears. You have a business called Surfing Your Fears.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that later, maybe?
We can maybe.
If Ale, you want to talk about something else now that you know how we're doing this?
Now that I know how we're
Because I was
doing
like,
this.
I'm Brad from Thank You Surfing.
I know. I had a glass of wine and I normally get drunk with one glass of wine. So
So here you are.
okay. So I'm Alejandra. I'm also a consultant for environmental stuff, compliance with government and other clients and stuff like that. And I'm also a surfer representing my country, Guatemala, in longboarding and shortboarding internationally. And currently national champion for longboarding.
That is incredible. Welcome to the show, ladies. This is
Thank you.
exciting. So today is really like all the other episodes. We're talking to you guys about surfing and what it means to you. So my questions are really broad and they're meant to be that way. So first question coming up here is, what's it like where you come from, the surfing scene?
What surfing scene? In Latvia, there is no surfing scene.
There you go. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, this is a perfect answer. All right.
Yeah, it's basically extended to 30 people, maybe.
16.
16, 30. 16.
No, I said that's a 16.
16. I was like 16. Sexy 16 scene. Sexy 16 scene. Yeah, it's probably just starting because people are traveling more. But yeah, I'm from Latvia, so I basically probably didn't know what is surfing. I don't even know when did I found that out about it. I guess, I remember there was this old guy and I was wake surfing behind the boat and he was like, "Oh, I see it in your eyes. You'll surf one day." And I was like, "Okay."
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, no, that's a true thing. I was a teenager and I was like, "Oh, I think so because I like board sports." And then I kind of I don't know, I learned about it through movies and stuff. And yeah.
Okay, what movies?
I have no clue.
Really? Come on. You
No,
have
I don't
to remember
remember.
some of them.
I think so, but I don't know. Like, I just like
Blue
start
Crush?
to
Yeah,
learn
I mean,
about
that
it.
definitely was a global phenomenon, that movie.
No, in Latvia we also did not have global phenomena. It's more likely we had a telenovela from Guatemala. Global
Marimar.
Okay, Ali, what was it like where you were growing up? What was the surf scene like?
So, also, it was very like growing up, like without saying my age or anything, but like no, growing up, there was no much surfing scene. Even though, yeah, we had Gio and Waimea that are the first surfers in Guatemala, and they were kind of like everyone's uncles.
What year, like, did they start surfing?
I don't have no idea. I should
I
know,
mean-
but I don't know.
How old are those guys?
Waimea passed a few years ago, and Gio is probably 65 around. Yeah, they say 64 last year because he was competing.
Still competing?
Yeah,
That's sick.
yeah.
All right, so let's just say that he started surfing somewhere like in his teenage or 20s or something like this.
Yeah.
So that's like 40 or 50 years of surfing in Guate.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea that was that recent.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah. And
I mean, Latvia is like even more recent. They're like, hey, like last week, we had a guy paddle out. We just saw it. It was the first time.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you, Nete, what was it like?
Where I grew up there was no ocean.
Well, like there was a surf scene, like how
Nah,
there's a surf scene like everywhere because of movies and culture.
Yeah, I think it was always there. I just didn't know about it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how long in Holland already people surf, but I think at least like 30, 40 years. No, longer, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, when I lived in Holland,
No,
that's
longer,
like
longer.
like 8 years ago, I didn't know that you can surf there. And
No,
I
but
lived there
it-
for 4 years. I mean, there were surfers, but like
Uh-huh.
it wasn't, spoken.
I think in the
I think
last
so.
10 years it has grown a lot, and it's like there's this one spot in Holland that's the most famous, and it's
Oh, I know about that spot.
crazy.
I
You
know-
don't even
I-
see waves, and there's like 200 people like
waiting for that one.
and they're like, what are they
white guy.
doing?
I mean, they're waiting for it, and it gets good. I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah,
good.
so it can get good.
I mean, I grew up surfing a lot of wave-starved regions, and so I know what it takes to like be very dedicated to the spot and like know the weather patterns and just.
Those
like,
are the
follow
real
it.
surf.
I mean, I don't know about that. It's like you really, really want to surf. I don't know if we surf that much, but people like us definitely want to surf. It's a different breed for sure.
Uh-huh.
You're like it's knee high and you're so happy. Okay, so this is kind of interesting then because there was like no surf scene where you grew up and there was no surf scene where you grew up, and then did you grow up surfing in your own scene or did you grow up surfing in a different scene like these guys definitely did?
I grew up surfing in Guatemala. I mean, I didn't grow up surfing often, but I did start boogie board. Like, my parents' best friends had 5 boys,
Uh-huh.
and I had a brother and a sister. But I was like very close. Like, my sister was younger, so I was always hanging out with 6 guys that would push me into boards and whatever, like so they actually got me in Iztapa into boogie boarding when I was
It's
young.
the gateway drug to surfing, we all know that.
Yeah. And then I surfed again with my first start foam-boarding or whatever was in Marina, this wave in Guatemala.
Oh, whoa, spot dropping. Oh my God, the first spot you ever dropped and the first spot you ever surfed. There's a major infraction. Caleb,
Okay, so
Caleb,
yeah.
edit that out.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. You
So-
named a marina. That's really not a
Yeah.
big deal.
And then, and then I started like.
Okay, so that was it. You were like, the local like friends, family, you guys were all hanging out together. They're like skating and whatever and surfing, and then you're like, oh, I want to do that. And then next thing you know, you're like getting pushed into waves,
Yeah.
How the freak did this happen for you guys then? Because this is probably not your story.
She's like, here comes the story. Yeah, no, like, I mean, when I started living in Holland, I was working and studying full time, so there was not a lot of daylight to spend outside, but I went on holidays like once a year, but like you can't really surf once a year to learn. But I always knew it's going to happen at some point. And then Mr. or Mrs. COVID came. Thank you, COVID. I got stuck outside of Kuwait, where I used to be living back then. And I just was like, okay, this country is opening, that country is opening. So I was just like jumping from country, learning to surf.
So your story is like, guy in a boat says, while you're
Yeah,
surfing,
guy in a
you're
boat
going to go
says-
surf. And then you get stuck in Kuwait, and then COVID, and then you just like...
Yeah, I just
Start
started
surfing.
traveling, and I worked remote, and I started like traveling for a year, and like being a lot of hours in the water, and then now it's 4 years later. The last 3 years has been like on and off time, but now I'm working full time remote, so I'm super dedicated. And actually, in that COVID year, I met Ale in Guatemala, where I was like just surfing my brains out, like trying to learn this sport, right, that I was so passionate about.
This is
And then
crazy.
actually like 3 years ago or something, 3 years ago, I had booked a flight to El Salvador, and then a friend from Australia told me about these salty surf sisters.
Salty souls.
Salty souls.
These are all attributes I think
Salty
you'd probably
souls,
put into the brand. Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was like, if you go there, you have to meet these girls, right? And that's how I learned actually about Nettie. And now,
Nuh-uh.
3 years later, I actually am here. Because back then I had to cancel my flight to El Salvador, but now 3 years later, I'm here. I meet Ale again that I met in Guatemala, and I meet... And Nicaragua accidentally 8 months ago in the water. I was just like, Ale, I think I met you in Guatemala like 3 years ago. Yeah. And then Nettie, here, I mean, I've stalked her for a while on Instagram. And then 3 years later, here she is.
Are you
coaching me
like
on to
feel very
surf.
accomplished that your stalking like, has come out in this regard?
Oh, well, it's,
It's quite an accomplishment.
It's just to kind of warn the other people I'm stalking, so you watch out. I'm joking.
So the stalking occurs, and then you wind up on the couch next to them.
Yeah,
Congratulations!
exactly.
Like you were.
I mean, I feel like Nettie's now a little bit considering me staying at her place. But it's okay. Maybe let's better focus on Nettie's surf story before I sound like a creep.
That's a perfect segue. So, Nete,
So,
how the hell did it happen for you? Where did you like wind up starting to surf?
for me, it was maybe I was 17 or 18,
Uh-huh.
and I had my first summer job on one of the islands of Holland, and they opened a surf school there. I was cleaning toilets.
At a surf school.
No, on the campsite. But they opened a surf school, and then we just tried it once. Like surfing with my colleagues, we're like, let's try it out. And I think I was the only one who was like, this is cool.
No way, really?
And so I would try and like go whenever I had time off. But whenever I had time off, it was flat, really. So,
Yeah, that's
especially
why
in
you
the
have
summer,
to be really
like it was
good at
not.
predicting
Yeah.
weather in places like that.
So then I didn't know what to study after high school. So then it kind of just became I was like, well, then I'll just go learn surf. I thought it would just be for a year to like go and like get a little better at surfing, and then I would know what to study. But
You keep just studying surf.
yeah, I guess. I did do a winter season, like snowboard teaching
So you
as well in the winter.
Also studied snowboarding. Check that
And
box.
so then I realized I really like teaching. So then it was like, okay, I like teaching, I like snowboarding, I like surfing. I just need to become good enough to be able to teach surfing.
Huh?
And
that-
here she is teaching a girl from Latvia.
Is that really how this is happening now?
Yeah.
We had a first lesson, first video analysis today.
That is
Yeah,
sick.
girl power.
When I sent you the photo.
That was what was going on?
Uh-huh.
That is
That was
sick.
what's going on. What were you thinking about?
I thought you guys were having a
receiving
workout or
picture with
something.
3
I don't
girls.
know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, work.
So yeah,
Um,
after that I just started going places where waves were better, and I would just try and get any job. Didn't really
Just
like,
to surf.
yeah, or try. I wouldn't call it surfing. It was not very successful.
Well,
But
we all know what that's like.
But
All right.
now-
So the thing that's really interesting, I mean, even your story to a certain extent, just like growing up surfing in Guate, but then I know you also surfed here a lot in El Salvador, and all of my questions and like all of my stuff that I did with Chris about the podcast focused on our local community in Miami, like I was telling you guys before, but it also sort of like assumed that you grew up surfing where you lived and where you grew up. And like the more I've talked with other people, like that's not the case. I don't know. I don't know if it's like not the case anymore, or if it was never the case. I'll have to figure that one out by like doing some research or asking more people or something. But yeah, this is like a very new phenomenon for me because like stuff like localism, like how the frig are you guys locals anywhere if you like you
nowhere, never.
yeah, I mean, I've been traveling a lot of my life now, and I've lived in different places, and like like localism is
It's a
for people
super
that don't
tricky
leave or something. I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's a really tricky one. I guess like the first time as well when I learned like what is localism. I mean, I've always been very respectful in water. I mean, in general, right? But I was also like one time wondering, and I had this discussion with the local guy in Fuerteventura in Canary Islands, and I was telling him, so what do you suggest me to do if I'll never ever be a local anywhere, right? Because like the world becomes more open, right? Like we are expats and we are locals anywhere and everywhere, right? Like or
good luck with that.
yeah, I mean in general, I mean it's still
It's a
far
nice
away
thought.
from that, right? But you mean like somebody else goes for a job somewhere else, right? Like so you want to have that job, right? So like you hope that it's not going to be a localism, right? Like to get something. Anyways, it's a very complicated question, but
That's
in
why I
general,
ask
Wait,
it.
what was the question again?
like how can somebody from Latvia be a local anywhere? Because
Yeah, if you like,
I'll never be a local.
yeah,
pretty
and
much.
Then, like, okay,
Yeah.
if you grew up surfing in Guate, like that's the only place you can be a local, right?
But girls have superpowers.
Okay, that's
Like
wild
we have
card.
privileges, you know, like
I want to
I
ask
mean,
that ChatGPT.
that's-
ChatGPT, does girls have privileges in surfing?
no, but
I mean-
seriously. No, I know what you mean. But also I feel it depends where, obviously.
Well,
like,
the localism thing. Hold on, let me just like preface this by saying the localism thing is like only one piece of this because all the rest of my questions are like assuming that you grew up in a certain area and you could speak to like what is it like there where you grew up? Is like your scene diverse? Is there a big culture of it? Is it a small scene? Is that scene like? And it's like your scene is not a local scene from like where you grew up. It's I don't know what the hell it is. And this is why it's sort of confusing and interesting. Like, what's your like? What do you associate with like your surf culture, like or your the things that make up surfing for you?
okay. Wait, one at a time. Sorry,
So Nete, like, you did not grow up surfing where you lived, and you have surfed in many different places. So like, my question is like, is the surfing scene diverse?
In different places.
I don't know, because like it's easy for me to ask people like if you grew up like in La Libertad, I can be like, what's your surfing scene like in La Libertad? And you'd be
yeah.
like-
Then if you've been to Indonesia, Portugal, Mexico,
and you don't associate with a locality anymore. You're just like, so I have to
yeah.
like change my questions, and it's hard for me to understand like how to even ask you these questions. It's like, okay, like what's surfing? Is surfing diverse in your opinions?
I think yes. but I feel it's changing, and
Okay.
it really depends on where you are.
Okay, so tell me, how is it different in different places?
But I think now with all the wave pools coming up, you see like there's a lot of rich, like more like the higher class people who can like do that.
Like
so-
wave pools.
Yeah, so that makes that even like countries who don't have an ocean, like the rich kids can still surf. Like rich people, I think. And then they will come like wherever they want to go travel. And so from like countries that don't really have an own surf scene because they don't have an ocean, I think now their surf scenes from like the wave pools, they are very rich, or like at least like the higher class people because they can afford it. And so that I think
Okay, so have you like witnessed this? That like people that grew up surfing in wave pools are like coming to surf in the ocean with you?
I think you even see it here. It's like people who, I don't know, are just landlocked people, but then they can surf now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I'm trying
And
to
then
figure it out.
locals, I think will always be way more diverse, and it could be like the poorest people, but also more the richer.
Okay,
but-
so I asked this question very like sneakily. I say like diverse because like diversity can mean a million different things,
Yeah.
right?
I
And
went
so-
the poor and rich part.
But you also went like artificial wave pool, which is like a whole other cool, like yeah, it's a thing now for sure.
So yeah, I think like tourists will be a lot more like higher class, but locals can be anything. Like, but you will not see like very poor people travel the world and go surf everywhere.
Yeah,
So
I mean, well, I mean, lower socioeconomic like classes generally don't travel as much. That's for sure. And there's another interesting part of it though. There's this girl that I think I mentioned this on the podcast once before. There's a girl from China that's like a super sick snowboarder, and she's like, I don't know, 9 years old or something like that, and she just does like the nastiest.
Is it Sky Brown?
No, she's British. No, she's Japanese. I mean,
Japanese.
Japanese British.
Okay, well, maybe there's like a whole bunch of these little girls now.
skateboarding.
Yeah,
But like,
probably.
you watch them hit these
yeah,
kickers,
skate.
and you're like, "There's no way. This is like a tiny human being, and they're flying like hundreds of feet through the air."
But China doesn't have snow.
No, they have snow.
Yeah.
They had the Winter Olympics there not so long ago. But they actually like manufacture their snow for it. That's a whole other podcast. Go to like an Olympic snowboarding podcast or something. But this girl is like sick at snowboarding, and they put her in a wave pool. And of course, she's nasty at surfing, like this, you know, because she's getting the repetitions, and she just like sees it like she sees like a kicker in a half pipe or whatever. She just like hits that section, and that section's available time and time and time again in a wave pool. And they're like, yeah, well, like maybe she's gonna be like a surfer, and it's like, whoa, who's teaching her how to like read the ocean? Like the first time she gets like worked by a set, like what's gonna happen to this poor little girl? And that is a truth that I think that surfing has now, is like, okay, that we are making access to like surfing, or at least like the gymnastics part of surfing, or like the aerial part of surfing, or like whatever like the snowboard park is, or the snow like half pipe, like that part is like replicatable in a pool now. And generally, I think like people that have more money can do that part. Have I seen those people in the ocean? I don't know. Maybe a little bit.
No, like when this year in ISA surfing games, right? When I went to represent Latvia, I think South Korean team, all of them were like, "So where do you practice surfing?" Wave pool.
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that.
Oh,
South
no way.
Korean team,
Even
because
the longboard one.
yeah, like they have a wave pool and they all go and practice there. But I mean, they were able to read ocean, so obviously they have practices abroad as well. But their main surfing spot is
Pipeline.
Because when I asked them, so where do you surf in South Korea? They are
I
like,
was like, are we gonna bleep
wave
that out?
pool.
I'm confused. This podcast is going off the rails.
like
I was like, are we beeping like wave pools now? Is that where we're at? Like, please censor out the wave pools. But wow, that is really wild. But do they surf in the ocean too?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
they
they
were
even have their
competing.
nationals. They had their last nationals. I saw the longboard
Yeah.
national champion at the wave pool. I was like,
Yeah.
No, this is really wild. Okay.
I didn't know they did that often. I thought it was like a one time.
No, they just, that's where they're like are practicing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, seriously.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but
I
you
mean,
know, it's
here
like
we
there
are.
is a surf scene growing around like the world. For instance, when I like grew up in Latvia, we have a long coast, right? But it's kind of flat. Back then, nobody would try to surf, right? But now we come back with the knowledge from abroad, and we are like starting to recognize, like, hey, we have even like a surf town now in Latvia because,
Sick.
like,
What
you
does
know,
it have? How do you know it's a surf town?
because there is a surfboard rentals.
That's it. Uh-huh.
And there is surf lessons, right? And
Surf lessons and foamies.
and surf
That's what makes
and
a surf town.
foamies, right? But like nobody would learn before, and you know, back then as well, like the traveling was not so exposed. And then you know, there's now sessions. I don't know, maybe. I mean, I don't live in Latvia anymore, but I mean, there's also shortboarders going in, right? But it's because you are coming back with the knowledge, right, of like what can and cannot be possible in a water. I mean, it's still far away from you being able to become a good surfer just by living in Latvia, right? But you can learn to pop up now. Because, I mean, we have now the foamy boards are better, right? Like there is some sort of a knowledge.
This is
So
nuts.
the surf towns are around the world are growing in places you would never imagine having them before, right? Like,
And I want to say that now that you said that, in Guatemala, the surfing scene was very different in that sense because we never had, like back then, we never had like surfboard rentals or because no, like there was no tourism at the beach and like nobody in Guatemala could afford a surf lesson. So like if you had the chance to surf was because like someone lent you a board or like
yeah.
literally like
Okay, well, my first surf.
Like,
was
there
a
was
loaner
no
board.
rentals.
What was your first surf? Someone loaned you a board?
No, I was in the school. In the
Oh,
school
that's
that-
right.
Brad's not listening. Sorry.
I got a little excited about that topic because I thought everyone was gonna say it, and I just
Yeah, I got it
blasted
from my
right
friend.
through.
I got a lesson.
Yeah, from a friend.
No, it was actually in the school, but only one, I think. And then I just tried by myself.
yeah, I also had one. Like at one point after I already did the foamy and the I had like one lesson and then a friend of mine took me surfing like a few times and then I started working in a surf shop in Guatemala City, 2 hours away from the beach. And bought a surfboard and then
And then. Okay, so traveling around to all these different places now, do you like you see big differences in like the different like surf scenes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of surprises. For instance, I don't know. I just
This sounds good.
like
Go
no,
on.
as in like you know. For instance, you would think, okay, I'm going to a place that is like super popular for surfing, and I'm gonna see like so many girls in the water, Brazil or something, right? And like you go and there's actually maybe not so many. But then I just came back from a freaking cold Canada and I'm just seeing constantly insane amount of girls in the water. And sometimes like, and most of the times more than the guys. And you're like, what? In this cold freaking place, there are so many girls surfing when you go to a warmer place and there's none. Or I think it's also depending on a break, like the type of the wave, you know, like how intense the crowds are. So like it's like geographically, like you know where is the place located, or how heavy is the tourism. You see the difference. You see the difference based on the infrastructure around you, like how many acai bowl places are there. You know, it's like
That's
if
so
there's a
true.
lot of acai bowl places, okay, there's gonna be a holiday people. You know, like a lot. if you can't get a good flat white, then forget about it, right? Like there's not gonna be so many.
I never traveled to like the acai places so much.
Exactly.
Like never,
'Cause
like
you're not a tourist
literally.
person.
But
You're a surfer.
I was always chasing like the waves, like. So when I moved to Portugal, it was always like, okay, find my house like the closest to a surfing beach that I can. Okay, boom. And like Mexico the same.
Okay, so like
Indonesia,
in these
same.
places, are there like longboarders, shortboarders, girls, guys, like kids, old people? Is it different in all these places?
Yeah.
Surf dogs.
Surf dogs?
Yeah, definitely differences.
All
Like
surf dogs.
it depends.
It's a real thing now.
Like, yeah. But I don't know how to explain. There's similarities and there's differences in all of them. But
Well, we're out on podcast. Just talk it out and we'll figure it out.
for example, okay, talking about localism, like in Indonesia, like there was not that many locals because they don't like a lot of locals didn't even swim. So there were not that many surfers. So like most like locals or people that believe they were locals, like they were not from there, in most
Interesting.
surf spots. At least back then. I bet now it's changed because there's a lot of surfing culture and
It's like
there's
the good old story. Did Columbus or Columbus discover America? Who discovered America?
When
So then there's,
when
like,
I
also in
first
surf,
arrived
right?
in
Like, who is the
Indonesia,
local now?
It was like, at least obviously Bali, yeah, whatever. But the other 17,000 islands, because I also lived in I was living in a sailboat for a year, and so I saw a bunch of islands, and most of them like.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Because you mentioned Guate before and how we were saying like maybe it was like 40 years ago that people started surfing there. Indo is probably like almost similar in time frame, like at least in the mental wise in places like this.
I
So-
think before, but it was tourist.
Maybe.
Like, like Jeff Hackman and
Yeah.
they started surfing the Uluwatu, but there was not even a road. They had to like. I heard these stories too, and there's a movie. I wish I remember, but I'm not gonna remember. But also G-Land.
Chasing the Lotus. That's the name of the movie. It's got Jerry Lopez and
Jerry
Rory,
Lopez.
and Rory Russell going to G-Land. Rory Russell.
I played that in my restaurant with Jeff Hackman sitting there watching the movie.
That's hilarious. It's a good movie.
Movie.
Spider and Wills. Yeah, we got off track there. I don't know what we're talking about now.
About the surf scene, you wanted us to be
Diverse.
very
How,
specific.
There we
how
go,
are the
thanks.
spots different?
Yeah, so if like places have like picked up surfing at the same time, but they still evolve differently.
Yeah, because for example, okay, for me, like for example, Guate is like more beach break. It's all sand and maybe a couple river mouths and point breaks that are man-made, and then Indonesia is like reef, perfect left, some rides in the off season or the other monsoon season or whatever. And
That's
then,
like a Guatemala surf.
but like honestly, I don't care about the what's
review.
going on in land, just like the waves. At least when I travel.
I think we lost the thread there.
But now you're saying the differences, like that's very different from one sport to the other, no?
I suppose so.
Like how the wave is.
Oh yeah. But then how does that change like the culture that
The
surrounds
culture.
it? Like do you like Guate is
Asia
like
in
how many
general-
how many longboarders are in Guate?
Can you tell exact number, or should we ask ChatGPT?
I don't know, like
You know what I mean? Because in my estimation,
in
like,
Guate or Guatemalans that also live somewhere else.
well, it's more just like you got to think that if it's all a bunch of beach break, there's probably not that many loggers. It just doesn't suit it that well, and so there'd be less of it. You would think. And there'd probably be like more boogie boarders. Nete's raising her hand.
Actually,
I love it. Yes.
boogie
Yes,
boarders in
Nete.
Guatemala are really good.
Yes, Nete.
In Holland, there's only beach breaks, and I think there's a lot more longboarders than shortboarders.
But the waves are also like completely powerless,
Very true.
very like wind swelly. So it kind of makes sense that there would be like that there.
Yeah.
It'd be funny to me if there was like a hardcore like shortboard scene there. They're like, oh yeah, these are like all air guys, and they're just like,
There's some, like, especially in that one town,
Oh, yeah?
Scheveningen.
what?
That,
Name it? Oh, name that. That's okay. I don't think anybody's gonna like get on a plane to go there. I don't even know if anybody could understand the word that
I don't think
just
you want to go
said,
there.
to be honest.
It's actually really
But
nice.
yeah, there's like even like a junior team, and they all like try and do.
Airs and stuff.
I mean, they try,
Okay, so we got.
and some are like good surfers.
I mean, I imagine that they are, but this is what's
Uh-huh.
funny to me. It's like the place has just got not good waves for like probably 99% of the
Uh-huh.
time, and there's still guys that surfing to them means like doing airs,
Yeah.
and it's like they can't surf probably like any of the time, and if they had a longboard, they'd probably surf like all the time.
Yeah, but let's be
But they
honest,
can even
like,
like surf on tiny waves, and you
yeah,
just see them
that's
like
with-
try it, like they try.
yeah.
And for our audio
It's
listeners,
impressive.
Nete was just doing all kinds of gyrations to show what it takes to surf a 4-inch wave.
So the difference outside of the water.
The difference outside the water in all the scenes? Okay, give me examples.
Okay. So yeah, like I told you, Guate didn't have like tourism or like.
Uh-huh.
Now there is a town that has like board
So
rentals
where would
and
people
hotels
like
and
hang out?
stuff.
There was probably like at least a little crew. And would you guys get together?
Yeah, I guess like at the hut outside of the wave
Sick. Okay, what is the
and
hut like?
and like
Describe the hut.
drink a coconut. It was just like this lady that had a bunch of chickens. You couldn't bring your dog because it would go back covered in like
Feathers and blood?
covered in like ticks and
Oh, Lord.
like fleas and stuff. It was like horrible. You had to cross like a mangrove stuff with a speed like with a not a speedboat
Like a
but
panga?
like a panga.
Okay, so this is like your surf scene. There's like 4 of you hanging out in a flea-infested hut that you get to on a panga. That sounds
Pretty cool.
pretty sick.
Uh-huh.
That's very core. I
Yeah.
mean,
And like when there was like big storms, yeah, we used like
would you guys have parties out there?
Huh?
Oh, who's at the door, Fox?
we had what?
Would you guys have parties and stuff?
Later on, when the other town that now has like rentals and stuff,
Uh-huh.
yes.
And then there's like, and then you guys
Parties.
like came together and had like, well, your parties.
Yeah, like Papa Gio face down on the grass. Like the yeah.
Okay. And was like the music like surf music like from like the surf movies that were coming out? From,
A
like,
lot of
this,
reggae.
uh-huh.
Love like what
Like-
Spanish speaking reggae.
Uh-huh. Like give us who's on
Like
the top.
Godwana, Cultura Profética. We
Uh-huh.
actually went to the concert with like
And that was like okay.
yeah.
And then was there a big like influence from the States? Or is it like just your own twist on it?
Own twists.
Would you guys get the magasines and like
We
all the
had our
videos
own
and stuff?
we had our own magazine.
All right, so when did that start happening? You had a scene if
Wait,
you guys have a
wait.
magazine.
Oh my god, I wish I had it here. Because I can't remember how old it is. I think it's like 20 years now.
So you guys have had a surf mag for 20. Is there a surf mag in Latvia?
Good question. I have no clue. Probably
We
not.
need to find this out. All you like internet people with Google and the capabilities, go ahead and look that up for us.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
That'd be sick.
I don't think
But there's
we're that
probably some
mature, yeah.
kid like pasting together stuff in some bedroom somewhere, being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna like go photocopy this and like hand out zines." That's what
Yeah.
I've really found, like everywhere. Like you think it's not happening, it is.
Yeah, their magazine, like, yeah, it's still the only one, and it's good. It's called Surf Art Magazine.
Sick. Holland, they got magazines like surf, like their own surf mag.
Probably, but I don't really know.
All right, but what about like on the internet? They have like their own surf websites and like
Yeah, they do.
all that.
They have also its own forecast.
Ah,
Like surf.
it's only for that region.
Like surfweather.nl.
Oh yeah, and is it by like some surf nerd that just like
I think it's just a weather nerd, but maybe he's a surf nerd too. I don't know.
I really.
But it kind of sucks because he will be very specific. Like, it's gonna be good at that time, on this beach. Like he writes it out, so then everybody is there and shows up.
As a guy that did a surf report and the forecast for many, many years, daily and sometimes more, there is like a weird responsibility that you're like, I feel like I shouldn't give away too much, but I need to give away at least a little bit. And
Or
so
you just say the wrong information and send everyone to the wrong spot.
Like
I
when,
don't
when
send-
the cameras are off, you know what this good.
Yeah.
That happens here a lot.
Really?
yeah, the camera goes off. Well, yeah, during storms a lot because of the
I think
electricity.
somebody just is.
And then,
Why?
storms happen and then the electricity goes out. And then if there's a storm coming by, a lot of time there's like glassy conditions after the storm, and the camera's still out, but no one knows that it's good because they can't see the cam. And then there's also sabotage of surf cameras. This has been going on for a long time.
Oh my god, so much to like just chill, go surf. I don't know.
Okay, and
Just
when I was in
Chill,
Indonesia,
go surf. How many places have you surfed in? You schedule your whole life around surfing. That's
Whoa,
not chill, go surf.
honestly, like if I would count the countries that I've surfed in, it's probably around 30 different countries. I think so.
That
I
is
think so. I don't know.
insane.
I mean, probably not 30. Well, it's a lot. Like
I've never really
a
counted
lot.
mine, but I'm sure I've got a bunch.
it's because I had to like hustle every time.
Okay, so
I
then
would get
how
a
come so
time.
many? How come you didn't like stick around in one?
It's because after that, like a year of kind of going around and surfing, I had to go back to Kuwait to work, and I just begged my boss to like, please let me like work remote at sometimes, and I would just go to any other place, like a new place, because I also want to discover culture. I want to discover new places, new adventures. So as insanely passionate I am about surfing, especially because I started when I was 26, so I started quite late. I mean, I wanted to also make it as an experience, an adventure, and not just about chasing the best wave, because I also think that you learn something about ocean. I always say like there's like 4 or 5 different oceans, but you learn about the sea and an ocean in every new place. So for me, it's like so beautiful because like water is just like, yeah. So I never sticked around like to one place. Really.
Okay, so I'm guessing that you didn't even go much inland from the places that you visit.
No, I do as well, like, because I have other hobbies as well. So
Okay.
I would go, like, kite surfing in the lakes or go hike the mountains in between. So, no, I'll make
I am
time.
pretty guilty of staying on the coastlines.
Me too.
Yeah, like,
It's horrible, but I'm like, at least I'm in a different place. I'm trying to learn
but
something.
don't get me wrong.
along
I
the
won't
way.
go inland unless it's like an action. I need an adrenaline action.
Oh no, I'll go inland if you're like, there's a cool lake. Let's go sit on the dock and drink beer. I'm like,
or just
That could
change
be fun.
scenery for some time, or if you got sinus infection.
yeah, I guess the only times to leave the coast is like, I'm sick. I must go inland to seek care. Okay, last question. Where do you think surfing is going?
Wave pool.
Okay, I mean that's one answer, right?
I don't know.
I mean, to me, it's very different that you guys have grown up surfing and learned surfing and continue to like go surfing outside of like where your home is. I'm doing that too to a certain extent, but like a lot of my surfing happened like where I grew up, and it still does happen like that.
Yeah, mine not so much though.
Do you think the future of surfing is like less around where your home is or your home was?
That's like maybe that's not just the future of surfing, but the future. Well, I don't know. People like traveling, no?
I guess.
More and more.
I think I'm a little scared for the future of surfing.
What is scary? Tell us in a whisper.
I think it's gonna explode. It's already like
More than it's exploding?
yeah, and like you already, I don't know, like here in the water, I feel a huge difference in how it was like 5 years ago and now, like the tension between people and how mean everybody is to each other and how they're not greeting each other.
Okay,
Sorry
you
about
know,
the negativity of surfing now, but
But
like,
that's also, I feel like there's more humans in the world, but also here in El Salvador, like the government has been pushing surfing tourism like nowhere else in the world,
That's very
especially
true.
for a tiny little country. So
That's very
like,
true. It is a
but
huge
it's not
difference.
just here.
so like here it feels more than everywhere else, and if we're here a lot, like we get like maybe.
Okay, let me.
I was just in Mexico and I thought everyone was a dick.
Okay, so let me. This is maybe a controversial question. Years ago, it wasn't really popular, just as you said, to like have surf schools and surf coaches or anything like this. Like you said, in the places you guys grew up, they didn't even exist. Now they do exist. Is this the problem?
It's not like a problem. Who knows what is the problem? There
I
is
think
like, you know,
surfing is so fun. That's the problem.
So my premise was like when I saw all like the people starting during COVID, all the outdoor activities exploded during COVID because people like went fishing and golfing and skiing and like hiking and mountain biking and anything you can do outside. There's a huge resurgence, and that's great, you know. But it does create like more people and resources that maybe are a little bit scarce. And I was like, surfing's hard, you know. Like
That's
people are,
only one wave coming.
people are gonna like give up on this shit probably pretty quickly. You know, like people give up on golf, people give up on skiing, people because like it's kind of like a pain in the ass, kind of hard, and like it was a good idea. I liked it, kinda, but then I didn't really get good at it, and it was like forget it. I thought that was gonna happen, and I don't know if it like there's just more people coming into surfing, so like there's just like like people drop out and then more people come in. People drop out and more people come in. But
I think
I
it's
don't
also
know.
the most addictive sport I've ever tried. Because you get this little feeling of wow. And then you always try and chase that. So no matter if it's just in the white water and you stand up, you're like, whoa, and you want to do that again. And then a little better, and then a little better.
yeah,
And so it's
I
like,
don't know.
I didn't really have that much in other sports.
Yeah, for me, I've been surfing for like a long time. And like, I feel like I've never been a bigger frother than right now.
So that's where the future of surfing is going. Ale is becoming a bigger
But
frother.
like, I feel like this happens to a lot of people, though.
Froth forecast up.
Like, I don't know, I feel like, but maybe not to everybody, but like, I feel like you can like build up on the froth.
I mean, thank you surfing is clearly about being pretty freaking frothy.
Isn't it like it's like super individual, right? But it's just that, you know, it's obviously there's more people surfing because it's more accessible. There's more people kiting because it's more accessible.
And
there's
the
more
places
people,
are more accessible.
we are doing more things because it's more accessible. Kids have phones because it's more accessible. It's just more accessible, but I think it does take a great deal of passion and determination with any single sport you do to stay consistent, to keep being
That's
out there.
all true.
Like, because no one, Netta, you asked me today, how do you surf like that in 4 years not surfing all the time? Is because, you know, like if you want something, you just go after it, right? But then the question is like, there's always going to be now more people in the water, but like there are so many places around the world that I go to and I beg for somebody to come out because I'm shitting my pants, you know, because it's like
I mean,
scary and there's nobody.
There's always those days, for sure. Everywhere.
So I think
still.
it's just, you know, like building your own surfing path, and like if something gets crowded and starts to frustrate you, you know, it's your choice to either stay in that country or find a new spot, right? I mean, at least in our lifetime, I think we can still surf empty spots. But like, I don't know
If that's
about-
even what you want to do.
Yeah,
I know a
if
lot of
it's
people
what
that just
you
like
wanna
love
do.
paddling out in a pack and just yelling at people.
Yeah, they just
It's
want
just
to
like,
do
that's
that.
how they get their aggression
also,
out.
like-
Or some people just go out there and talk.
And also some people are super good vibes, like even in like the gnarliest like surf spots, like where everybody's super angry and super negative, you always have like a couple of nice guys that are like super good vibes, and like they can change the vibe of the place and or their own perception of it.
Yeah, I guess so. So it's like the population will increase, but the ratio of people just expands. Like there's still going to be people that are going to be pissed
that's
off and
how I-
annoying, and people that are.
At least the surfing population maybe is growing faster than the world's population,
Yeah.
even though
It
they're
seems
both
like that.
growing.
So I guess we all agree that there's probably going to be more people surfing.
But there's also more wave pools coming.
Yeah, I kind
So
of.
then maybe they go there.
You know, Nate, I think I think very similarly on this. I was like, yeah, you know, surfing's hard. If you just put them all in pools,
Yeah.
that'll just leave the ocean for the people who want to deal with like getting worked and taking sets on the head.
Yeah.
Because that part's like fun too.
But they say wave
And they
pools,
can
you
live in
crash-
cities and do their stuffs.
In the wave pool, you crash hard on the bottom, I think.
No, Nate, it's fine. They love the wave pool. It's safe.
Because
It's
it's not
inviting.
salty, so you don't
It's
float.
warm. No, everyone loves it. Everyone who's new to surfing, you should go to a wave pool and save the ocean for the 4 people sitting on this couch. I think we just did a podcast episode, you guys.
No.
Is it over? You want to keep going? What do you want to say?
Girl,
We haven't said anything.
I think we've, like, how long has this been going?
it's been for a while.
I can't read this. I think it's like, yeah, we did an hour.
Okay.
Maybe like 45 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, then. We got to do this thing when we end it. Oh, yeah. I guess I can ask you. One sentence. What does surfing mean to you?
Sentence?
Ooh. That's hard.
Yeah, I know. Just say it. First thing that comes to mind.
I only have one word.
Okay, go for it.
Synergy.
Okay.
Freedom? I don't know.
Fraught.
Stoked. That's the
Yours?
episode. Stoked. Yeah. All right. This was a podcast episode. Thank you, surfing. I'm Brad Wells. I'm so happy to be joined by my friends.
Ale Oceans.
Katrina Cruz. Nette.
Guys, we did it. That was a podcast episode. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Today's episode was brought to you by Brightbox, marketing for design, architecture, and hospitality. I'm AIM Capital, experts in revitalizing Miami's urban multifamily real estate. And Team Key Aquatics, fostering growth and excellence in aquatic sports.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Thank You Surfing Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to stay updated and let us know your thoughts. Catch you next time, and keep surfing.